Welcome to the School of Bitcoin. We've got some new faces today. Oh, Oliver White's joining us. Bianca and Wendy, welcome. And Ollie, she goes by Tigs on our Discord channel. We've got a lot to get through, I think, and we've got a lot of people sort of joining us as well, I think. So just sort of kind of admit them as we go. Do you want to give a bit of an intro to yourself, Bianca, and then we'll do Wendy as well?
So
Sure,
yeah, sorry.
very good. So I'm joining to similarly to Wendy, just to really have a look at what's going on in this space, to really see where things are at from your side, from the innovative perspective. I've got a bit of a diverse background, a bit in tech, a lot in finance, and a bit in the philanthropic foundation. So I'm going to see where your projects are heading and go from there.
Awesome.
I'll just add, Bianca lives in our community of Agnes Water, and we've known each other for quite a while, and with her, we have a sort of mutual, mutually involved in finance professions, so we've come into contact with each other and discussed projects before. So she's naturally drifted towards Digital Playhouse, and has been helping us really tease out some ideas about what we're doing and our purpose. So
awesome. And what about yourself, Wendy? I know you already did an intro, but do you mind doing it again?
Hi, my name is Wendy, and my background is in architecture and project management. So I lead and deliver innovative learning spaces, and I suppose trying to create new way of learning for the students through collaboration and technology.
Very cool. Yeah, Wendy actually visited ex-wooranna a number of times when we were building it. I think Ray, he jumped in this morning. So Ray, the ex-principal from ex-wooranna, jumped into this Zoom this morning, but he's disappeared. So hopefully he comes in so you can say hi again.
Say hi, yeah, that's right.
But yeah, Wendy visited a few times and got to see the learning space that we developed out of the shipping containers. So it was really cool. I wouldn't recommend going back to the school now, Wendy, because they've like shut those spaces down, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a bit sad, but it's there's a long story behind that.
I'll catch up separately to find that out.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But anyway, so we've got a whole bunch of stuff on our list today. Electra, did you want to go through the logo design? I reckon that's really important.
I'll just start with something else because I'm still just uploading it to screen.
Okay, no worries. So we've got that. I think the things I wanted to sort of touch on was obviously the Stacks updates. So we've got tonight there's a crash course on Stacks as part of the chapter curriculum. So last week we kicked off with that with the first meeting, and it was really good. So there's people sort of from all over the world, and they're building out a curriculum specifically for Clarity, which is the coding language behind Stacks. So Wendy and Bianca, if you haven't heard of Stacks, it's basically I think Ethereum, but built on the BTC blockchain. So it settles on BTC, and you can do some really, really cool, funky stuff with that. So for the School of Bitcoin, we're looking at using it specifically for authentication, but also we've got a stacking pool where we can actually fund learner projects with that. So kind of like you alluded to before, Wendy, so moving away from that didactic model of do this, do that, into problem and project-based learning. So what problem do you want to solve? All right, we've got a fund here where we can actually fund learner projects. And we're going to start small with that. And potentially look at, actually I've got an ex-wooranna student who's been watching these, and she wants to be involved, and I was like, oh, awesome, this is probably the first person that we can get building a project and sort of fund with that. And there's also potential for her to run through the Clarity Code Camp as well. Just got to find out if there's like age restrictions on that or not, so that'll be quite interesting. But yeah, so the Stacks chapters, that's tonight. So I know Gordon and Electra are going to do, well, they're invited to join in on that. So that should be good. And I think I'll find out if the rest of you guys can join. Like the next, it is a bit late. So it's like 10:30 at night. So it's a bit bit much for us, but it's the only time they could sort of do that works for everybody else, like around the world. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, so we got that tonight. As part of that, they're going to do a crash course, which is basically running through like what Stacks is. But the cool thing is they're recording everything, so I'll be able to share it with everybody afterwards, which will be good. They're going through the Ryder IDs as well. So there's a website that got sent out. If you haven't got a .btc address, I know you do, Electra. But there's a new site that's launched called handles.ryder.id. I've put it in the notes, and basically you can link your Hiro wallet, which for those who haven't used Stacks, Hiro is like the MetaMask, like the equivalent of MetaMask sort of thing for authentication, and you link that to the Ryder app, and basically you can select your .btc address. It's quite easy to use from what I've looked at, as opposed to the one that we used before Electra. So it looks like we can sort of push that out to make it a bit easier for people to get their .btc.
It was a bit of a learning curve for me to set that up, and I'd be happy to step others through it, because
Awesome.
it was very satisfying when I finally got my electrofrost.btc. I thought, yeah, and then because it's good to my ledger, I thought, ooh, I've got to really secure this.
Yeah.
Now my name associated with Bitcoin is fully self-custody, and that makes you very nervous. What if I lose that? So yeah,
that's
good
true.
lesson.
Actually, it's easy to. In fact, I went through my my password manager, and I've got like 20 different Hiro like accounts. I'm like, oh, which one was it that I used to set it up?
Well, see, I can't engage with any browser wallet without authorizing via my ledger. I just decided that from the beginning, which does present problems, especially with co-op proof of participation. That's just Web3.
It is, yeah.
Way around it, but you set these standards for yourself in the beginning. Well, I'm going to do it this way for my own security. Yeah, and it does lock you out of something. Sorry, I detract. But yes, if anyone wants help with securing their own sort of domain with Stacks, I can.
Definitely worth doing. Yeah, for sure. Maybe we should do a session on that, like maybe next week, or I was thinking of doing. So I'm going to build out the Google Classroom. All right, Wendy, you'll probably have a memory of Rocket Shoes and what we were building with that project.
Yeah.
So reached out to Matt. Basically, what I'm envisioning, if we can get there, is building out our curriculum on Google Classroom specifically. So we've been building everything on GitHub, which is cool to make it all sort of open source, and anyone can fork it and do whatever they want. But in terms of like LMS, I forgot how bad like Moodle was until I started doing my TAE. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I remember why I hated Moodle so much. And why Google Classroom is such a like clean, easy to use interface. I was like, yeah, this is why we built for Google Classroom to begin with. But yeah, with that, I'm looking at building out a basic curriculum for financial literacy to begin with on Google Classroom, and then upskilling a bunch of us to contribute to that as teachers. So we've kind of been going back and forth with that. But the Rocket Shoes piece, which as you would remember, is talking to IPFS. So what we want to do is potentially take the code that's already there for Rocket Shoes and integrate Stacks specifically, instead of NEM, which was the blockchain we were using back in the day. And I think if we could do that for authentication, it means like it's great for this project, but also for the Stacks community as well, and for their Clarity Code Camp and the curriculum they're building out on that. So if we can get that up and rocking, I think that'll be good. But I'm thinking I might put up some content and then do like a session running through how to use Google Classroom. I mean, it's quite intuitive, but I think it'll be beneficial for sort of all of us to go through that. So I'll start doing that during the week, and then we can kind of go through it. The other thing what do we have? This is a bunch of stuff. So I'm not sure if the NYC guys are going to join us. Doesn't look like it. That's all right. And Brett from Gamma. So I caught up with him, was it last week? Yeah. And yeah, really cool guy who's basically working on NFTs on the Stacks blockchain. And yeah, he's from Melbourne as well. So he's in not far from me at all. And he's got an education background as well. So he's kind of moved from primary school teaching into Stacks development specific, and like this year as well. So quite similar to sort of my journey. So he was going to join this morning, but I know he's got 2 kids, so it might be a bit hard in the mornings. And what was the last thing I wanted to mention? Oh yeah, so this is I spoke about this a little bit yesterday, a lecture on our call. So I'm doing my TAE at the moment with Chisholm. So basically what I'm looking at doing is creating a accredited course on Bitcoin specifically, which is pretty ambitious, but if we can get it going, then it'll be awesome. Because if you go through like the accredited blockchain course that I know you're doing, Electra, doesn't really mention, like there's no mention of BTC at all, like when you sort of
it's very agnostic.
Yeah.
Did you find that, Michael, the course? Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, that's cool, but you would think you would mention like where the technology came from, right? It's just like
very business oriented, you know.
Yeah.
It's structured to like transition from a traditional business modes and models into blockchain. It's really, really incredible. But yeah, you're right. It lacks a lot of Bitcoin stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds awesome, and like, I mean, if I have to, I'll kind of use that as the jump off point, I suppose, to sort of build something or even integrate into that. But yeah, like, so doing this TAE, I was like, oh, it's pretty interesting. Last week, like, it was pretty full. We've had a lot of people doing it from different industries. Last week we had a massive drop off of participants. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it came down to digital literacy. And it wasn't like you would imagine, like sort of older people, whatever. I'd say between sort of 30 and 50, and they just couldn't hack it. Like, they didn't have the digital skills to complete. And it was just like, they haven't got the typing skills. Like, some of them didn't know how to sort of copy and paste. I was like, oh, wow. So it's super important. And I think, like, I know it is a prerequisite now for a lot of stuff. If you look at a lot of courses, if you go on like training.gov.au, you can go through, and like most stuff has digital literacy as a prereq, but it's only recent. So I think there's a lot of people who have been left behind.
My friend has told me with teenage children, they can't type. She's actually signing them up to digital typing classes so that they can type. They don't have to text on the phone.
Yeah.
But they type, and even at school, they're just like one-fingered.
Yeah.
So
that's incredible.
Yeah,
it's incredible how even primary school kids all have a laptop or an iPad, but they never taught I don't know, when in the 60s when you have the typing school, right? I mean, not that we all did. I mean, I typed by 3 fingers, but it's better than one. That's interesting. So I was asking, curious with regards to the accreditation to the course that you're writing. Who would be the accreditation body?
So doing it for training.gov.au, I suppose.
Oh, okay.
So like basically running through this course, you can pick an industry that's already there and build something and basically learn how to build that. Or if your industry doesn't exist yet, you can create it, which is a lot harder. But I was like, well, yeah, I may as well give it a shot and see if we can get it going. The only thing I need to figure out is what industry it's for, which is very hard to do. I really need to sort of brainstorm on that, I think, because it's basically, if you think about it, for BTC, there's mining industry, there's energy industry, there's well, obviously development, so there's the coding aspect. It just goes on and on.
Like, and who your target market or target student, whether it's an adult or profession, undergraduates or working or younger, like your schools or your primary schools. Because all your language will be very different.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, and I think sort of working with Chisholm and the cybersecurity grads is probably the place to start.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm meeting up with. Joe, do you remember Joe D'Amico from Chisholm? I think you met him.
Yeah.
So working with him, I'm meeting up with him next week, and
All
we're gonna
right.
look at getting some grads from Chisholm specifically. So I
How
think
exciting. I still have contacts with Chisholm TAFE, which in the capital works department as well. So
cool. Did you did some work with them, didn't you?
I did the Berwick Casey Tech School and the health centre. So
Nice. Yeah. Have you been to the new Frankston space?
stage 1 I have. I know there's building stage 2. So
It's nice. It's
yeah,
really,
I
really
am
nice.
keeping a close eye on it. Very
Well,
exciting.
well, with that, where are you based now, Wendy?
Oh, I'm in Caulfield.
You're in Caulfield. Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah.
not too far to Frankston. So they've
Yeah.
got a co-working space like in Chisholm.
In stage 1. Yeah. I think we
Yeah.
did actually say it was near the cafe area on ground
Yes.
floor. Yeah.
Yep.
I've seen that. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. And basically it's kind of focused on social enterprise rather than just anyone coming in there, which I really liked. But basically we're going to look at running the BTC meetups once a month out of there.
Right there.
So you'll have to come down for that if you're free.
Definitely.
But yeah, so we got that space, and then potentially working with Joe to find some grads from there to run through. Well, one this like the bit called BTC, but also the Clarity Code Camp. So that's what we're working on with Stacks, which is I think really beneficial, particularly for any student looking at getting a job in Web3. I think that'd be really worthwhile. But yeah, so exciting stuff ahead. I think that's pretty much all I had today to cover. Did you want to go through some of your stuff, Electra?
Yeah, just on the topic of social enterprise, we'll be hosting a social enterprise workshop at Agnes Water Digital Playhouse on 28th of October. I'll just put a link in the comments here. It's like this one in Rockhampton. It just hasn't gone online yet. We're members of Queensland Social Enterprise Council. They queried me yesterday since we changed to a charity. I asked to update our listing, and they wanted to check whether we were still like a commercial social enterprise trading for good, or if we were just a charity relying on donations and grants. They asked whether our social enterprise model had changed, and I said no, it hasn't. We're still providing direct impact and improving employment outcomes. But I said, but our goal is to eventually turn into a DAO, which is going to be the dominant form of organisation for social enterprise in the future, I believe. And that sparked an interesting conversation. So it's just getting a little off track there, but I might sort of bring that into the conversation on the 28th of October when we have our social enterprise workshop, which will go from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. with Natalia Muszkat, who's a very progressive local councillor and works in social enterprise and with the council. So that's on. We finally got Google Workspace to update our Google Workspace domain with .org.au. And so Classrooms now has the organisational unit .org.au, so there shouldn't be any sort of issues now. We can create classrooms under our real domain. And with Digital Playhouses, I've been going back and forth with the designer. I'll show you I basically just wanted her to modify our logo to have Digital Playhouse Foundation written under it. Can you allow me to?
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Yeah. So this is our current logo. As you can see, it's a nice decal, something I designed in Canva. And we don't want to change it remarkably. See, it's got the cog and the digital.
Yeah, I love that.
Digital. Okay, so I can share now.
You should be able to.
Okay. All right, so there's two versions. There's one that has a for dark backgrounds, but I'm going back and forth. I'm probably just going to finish it myself, or if anyone has Adobe Illustrator, please help me. It's not centered, and it could be bigger, but it looks pretty. Like
was this the person off Fiverr, or is this?
Oh,
your-
someone on Fiverr.
Okay.
And she came, I said, I just want you to add Digital Playhouse Foundation, like, to our existing logo, like
Yeah.
just in some text. And she came up with all these different designs and said, no, I just want you to do this. So she's changed this bit. That's kind of, I'm a bit OCD with design. I can see it's too far this way. But do we like it? That's
Yeah, I like that.
That's just the and then there's the one I quite prefer this one. Oh, you can't see it, but with a white background. That's the
Yeah.
cog.
I think white background's the way to go.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Sometimes you do have darker backgrounds. So
Sorry,
when I'm asked for a
transparent.
logo for an event, I
Yeah.
have to provide two versions depending on which looks best. So yeah,
Would
I think a lot of logos have a black and white background, just depending on in situations. So a lot of my projects have two versions of logos.
for a different background.
Yeah, with a
Yeah.
dark background and a white background.
Yeah, so that's what we've got here. Yeah. But would you agree with me, or is it just me being OCD that DP is too far to the right and could be bigger?
should there be
I can see it a little bit, yeah.
should there be
with
an
my
F in
graphic
there
card.
somewhere?
Should there be
An
a what?
F,
An F, yeah. So like Digital
Digital
Playhouse Foundation.
Playground Foundation.
No, because we're really just
DP
Digital
looks really
Playhouse.
good now. You don't want an F in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're still the same. We just changed our structure, but we're still the same thing. We went from a private company to a company limited by guarantee. So still Digital Playhouse, but now as a registered charity since June. And actually since June last year, they backdated it, but really we've only been active recently with the charity. And so Bianca has been, we've had advice from a not-for-profit specialist, Barry Shiplock, who managed our ACNC registration process, which was a bit interesting. I think they had a little difficulty understanding what we're doing. But we got there in the end, and governance is very important to us, especially as we're sort of straddling sort of legacy systems and entering new ones. We want to make sure we're ticking all the boxes with the government and doing things correctly. So our processes and policies, procedures, and finances, everything has to be in place with the charity and transparent.
You have a website, Digital Playhouse Foundation?
Yes, we do.
Yep.
It's our current just Digital Playhouse, but
I'll have a look at it. Yeah.
it's in process of updating when Kieran and I get around to it. So most of the information about us is currently on this charity page, because when we registered as the charity, we had to put something online. So that's the first place to go to, but all this information will end up on our homepage soon.
You have a board and
Yeah. So it's just the three of us at the moment.
Oh, see that photo with the baby in the background? You probably remember that, Wendy, from the
I
school.
I do.
They got rid of it. Like,
What?
yeah, I know. I was like, because I get you get Google alerts, I get it still for ex-wooranna, and it was this thing of them like donating it to somebody. I'm like, oh, that's really sad. Like that was the centerpiece of the school.
Well, you have to create another one. I you can't last forever, right?
Yeah,
It's
true.
somebody's artwork, so you have to more incentive to create a new one.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway.
And so, yes, our charitable purpose, it's still quite consistent with our social enterprise, social impact model, which is about creating inclusive and sustainable economic growth and achievement, and full and productive employment and decent work for all, with emerging technologies that we think open up opportunities. And Gordon's working on the DAO white paper. If you click on read more here, he explains why distributed ledger technology is appropriate for a charity like Digital Playhouse Foundation to be transparent and open with its and inclusive with its decisions and applications of finances, and what our longer term plans are. So I'm not so sure about the donations. We need to update. It's a Wix website at the moment, so it doesn't integrate with coin payments. We would like to take donations by by crypto and Bitcoin, which people have who are wanting to support us. However, that has involved putting, I'm not sure if I'm too comfortable with, it's not working at the moment. We'll go here. I'm not sure if I'm too comfortable with having our Bitcoin address on the page. Is that a security issue in your mind, Kieran?
Yeah, it can be for sure. That's what Lightning solves.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of migrate to something like that. Or there is donation on-chain systems that you can actually spin up that generate a new address like every time. But realistically, I think we should
I'd just rather use a
move
payment
into
processor.
the Lightning for that.
Yeah, a decentralized payment.
BTC Pay Server is pretty good with that.
Yeah.
And you can port it on the back of WHMCS as well, and it's totally peer-to-peer, like full non-custodial. It's a really good option. That's what we use for our VPN.
Okay, so I could embed something like this into our website.
Yes, if you're using WHMCS background for your payments, for your payment gateways, right? Say you transfer from Wix onto WordPress, and you bolt it on the back of WHMCS, you can then plug a module in that ports BTC Pay into WHMCS like full independently. And it actually turns your organization into like its own peer-to-peer network that you can hook up to others with. So it's very powerful in that sense. It's very pure, because a lot of these apps look great, but then when you look into them, they're not so good. But I got this one from Andreas Antonopoulos, actually. He mentioned it in one of his talks, and I straight away went, oh man, if Andreas is saying this is good. So I started looking into it, and yeah, it's a really, really good one.
Okay, I'm going to look at this one today because I've set up a coin payments account, but it's like these merchant facilities with crypto. It's processing through another entity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a third party. That's right.
Whereas this is not a third party. This is a.
No, you can run that on a node. So we can set up a Citadel or Umbrel or whatever and run it on that. Are you doing that, Michael?
At the moment, because we're just about to launch the VPN project, we're using Luna Node. So we're putting it through Luna Node, where we're operating the Bitcoin and Lightning nodes through Luna. But that's just to get us to launch. Once we're launched and we're going, we will be putting it into a full, independent node.
Nice.
So, which is why I'm so interested in what TIGS is doing, and which is why we're doing our Bitcoin node initiative through TIGS's stuff. That's so valuable, not only for individuals, but for business owners and organizations as well.
Awesome.
So we're interested in this, Michael, and that just leads me on to thank you. That's we're going to talk afterwards about.
It's Luna Node. Luna Node makes it really simple. Like it really, literally in 5 minutes, you're hooked up to your BTC Pay server, and in 2 days, the whole Bitcoin blockchain's downloaded, verified, you're ready to go, and it's wonderful.
Awesome.
Fantastic. That just brings me to. I'll just stop sharing. I'm just trying to find the stop sharing.
Where are they based? Luna Node. Do you
know? Yes, I do, because I've been in talks with them back and forwards for quite a bit, and it says on their website. I just got I think it says it down the bottom there. It tells you where their office is based. I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. Oh yeah, it'd be interesting to sort of go through that, and maybe that's an option to begin with, Electra, to set up that and then migrate to a node sort of later on.
Okay, I'll give it a go. It's really important to me to get to find out the business applications and tools in Web3 Bitcoin, because that's where the main adoption is going to happen, yes. And where the most responsibly guided adoption needs to happen. And that's what I'm involved in with the accountants on chain, is to bring accountants' knowledge up to speed so that they can support and guide businesses from Web 2 to Web 3. The ones that are favourable towards it are drawn to it, which brings me to adopting Bitcoin 2022 and in El Salvador in November. I'm going. I'd like to know if anyone else is going. 'Cause it sounds like
I know for a fact, yeah, Chris is obviously going and his partner, Holly.
yeah.
Hopefully I can go as well. I'm still
Yeah,
kind of like
see what
up in the air
happens.
with that.
Might be a
but-
short notice thing, but yeah, and the outcomes I'd like from that, it's a research trip for Digital Playhouse to just get knowledge to bring back to School of Bitcoin. That may help, but also to help. I'm thinking of developing a kind of a SME, small business adoption roadmap throughout regional Australia with the support of accountants, linking them with innovation or community business centres. With the people in there. I've been asked by the Institute of Public Accountants to lead a regional technology accountants meetup, which would start in Queensland, hopefully become, and just to encourage accountants to find the innovators in their regional communities to learn what they can do with Web3 in business.
Awesome.
Amongst other things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. And I think visiting obviously Bitcoin Beach and seeing what the schools there are doing, and that I know they've got a diploma that they're doing on BTC specifically that people have run through. So I'd love to know like what that is specifically and like what the students think of it. I think that'd be really really beneficial to see like what they've gotten out of it and how in depth it goes. Because I mean there's so many aspects to the BTC protocol and the network to learn about. But are they going through everything, or is it just like this is how you function, you know, in El Salvador, like from sort of
Are they getting into the theory, or are they
yeah, exactly right. Is it just base knowledge, or is it like are they sort of going deep into it? And how the language barrier works with that. Interestingly, so all of these I've been putting up on the Lightning Network as well. So like the audio for these meetups. So for this Bitcoin Aggregated podcast, the Alpha podcast, Bitcoin Australia. So putting them all into like one thing called Bitcoin Aggregated, that's up on the Lightning Network. And you can actually see the hang on, I'll share my screen. It's really interesting. Where am I? So you can actually see the majority of people using Fountain app, which is the number one Lightning app for listening to podcasts over the Lightning Network. But check out the countries. So Argentina is like number one. And it seems like it's all like Spanish speaking countries like listening to us, which is like, wow, I didn't sort of expect that. And I think this was even lower. Like last time I looked, the Australian one was like right down the bottom, and all these other countries were like,
we're bringing it up?
yeah, it's fascinating, eh? So shout out to everyone in Argentina and Spain if you're listening to this. But yeah, I thought that was really, really interesting. And I think like looking at the Lightning Network specifically, I think that's where it's coming from. Because I put these on YouTube as well. And like, you know, we've got like 300 subscribers on there or something, which is fine. But I mean, the audio is just like taken off like crazy. So it's interesting the way people learn. Like we're kind of going through that at the moment, like for adult learning and you know, the different ways people take in information. So like, you know, auditory, visual, what's it called? Like the hands-on as a fourth one as well. But it seems like the auditory is like
the podcast. Yeah, it's an interesting comment because my son, he's bodybuilding at the moment, and he catches the tram to work, and he's got all the time in the world to listen to podcasts. So he's in cybersecurity, but he's so into bodybuilding. He's literally found this academic who talk about nutrition and muscle building, and he literally, I don't know, he would have done a course in his journey to work and back just through podcasts. So I think it's probably more easily accessible, and people can when you go for walks, you can tap into it rather than having to set up your computer, visually engage with this. You have to schedule that time, whereas a podcast, you can listen to it at any of the free time. It's an interesting avenue of learning without visual.
Yeah,
is.
I'm an auditory learner too. I have lots of podcasts, and that's how I learn blockchain,
Yeah.
through listening. Yeah, as you say, you can just use other time. Oh, hello, Oliver. It's nice to see you. You've asked some really good questions in here. Like, how do they scale the education of Bitcoin? Does it progress every year? Yeah, that's a really good question, because I saw in have you noticed that I think it's Honduras now has Bitcoin Lake, and they have that what's that? I posted it on Michael's page. Their Decentra Academy, and it's
Cool.
like a structured learning program that they have in Honduras. And there's Bitcoin Beach in El Salvador, Bitcoin Lake in Honduras, and Ecuador has Bitcoin, some other tourist site. So they're turning it into a real sort of
Yeah.
tourist
Yeah, it's awesome.
and educating businesses.
Again, the annoying thing is we had the #1 Bitcoin center in the world in Melbourne here with zero support, and it's gone now.
Oh,
It's sad to see that sort of go overseas, but anyway, cool. Well, that's pretty much all I had. Was there anything else you wanted to go through, Electra?
no. Ryder pre-orders, they covered that.
I just had a thought with the donation page as well. Is it worth us spinning up a dedicated page that's not Wix for that? So like donate dot like a subdomain. I'll be happy to do that, and then maybe work with you specifically for like each of our donation.
And is that done as just a redirect from the Wix page?
Yeah, because then we can point it. So say score Bitcoin, I can point it directly to that. From the stacks page, we can point it to that and just keep it all in the one space for the different projects. I think that might work better.
We'll have a chat afterwards.
All right, yeah, let's do that. Let's try and get away from Wix as much as possible. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. This is really good. We'll meet again next week. I know there's a bunch of people that were meant to join that haven't, but that's all right. I think there's a lot of people sort of coming in and out, and they've got other responsibilities. But yeah, tonight we've got the Stacks meetup. So if you can join that, Electra, that'd be great.
Yeah,
and I'll record it and share it with everybody. If you want to join the mailing list for this, Wendy and Bianca, give us a shout, and I'll forward everything through.
That was some interesting conversation here. Thank you for letting me join.
Thank you for your
anytime.
Thank you.
Come anytime. That's great. And thanks for joining, Tigs.
Nice to meet you, Michael and Oliver.
Oliver's Tigs. Now I know. I've made the connection. Nice to see you, Tigs.
Good work. All right.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day.